Some in our society say that you should set your expectations low so you're not disappointed when you don't hit your goals. But I say, if you don't dream big, then you're missing out on the good stuff. Let me explain. Welcome. We're live. Now, how many of you, by a show of hands, want to live every day full of excitement and wonder and joyful anticipation of the future? Who out there has ever taken a family trip to Disney World? I know, it's like the American rite of passage. Every family has to do it. And families have different strategies about how they spring the news on the kids. Some family just don't tell the kids at all. They just show up. Surprise, we're at the happiest place on earth. Let's do this, right? Other families will wait until like a week or so out, and maybe they'll put Mickey Mouse ears out on the breakfast table and they'll have like a big announcement. But the family I want to talk about is the family that plans out their trip to Disney World months ahead of time. Maybe in January, New Year's Day, they make the big announcement and they say, this summer, we're going to Disney World. And everyone gets excited. Everyone gets involved in the planning. And they watch all the Disney movies in preparation for the big trip. And the kids go to bed every night for months with fairies and cartoons dancing around in their heads, right? And as the day gets closer, the anticipation is thick. Excitement, joy, wonder. They haven't even set foot in the Magic Kingdom yet, but their joy is overflowing. How many of you know there are negative Nancys in the world? And negative Nancy will tell you, now, don't go getting your hopes up, right? She lives by a different mantra that says, set your expectations low and you'll never be disappointed. But I got to tell you, that's a sad way to live life. For the family that went to Disney World and planned it out months ahead of time, how much time did they spend anticipating their great Disney vacation? They spent months in excited anticipation. How much time did they actually spend at Disney? Well, probably less than a week. Right? Because of one dream, though, because of one big dream, they got to have months of great feelings, months of excitement and joy. And then when the big day finally came, they also got to experience that together as well. Now, contrast that, though, with negative Nancy's conversation with her kids. Can you even imagine having this conversation with your kids? Okay, kids, now this place called Disney World probably isn't all they've made it out to be. I don't want you to get your hopes up. There's probably going to be long lines. It's probably going to be hot, probably going to be a lot of walking, and you're going to want to buy a lot of stuff that we can't afford. So I just want to prepare yourself now for big disappointment. And hey, maybe we'll get there and find something fun to do and surprise ourselves. Who would do that, right? Think about how terrible that is. Not only have they set themselves up to have a terrible time, but negative Nancy has also robbed herself and her children of the months of excited anticipation beforehand. Who would do that? The trip becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, a complete negative experience, but that's not the real cost. The real cost is the months of joy that they miss out on beforehand. Also, negative Nancy can say, I told you so. This wasn't that great. Thank God we didn't get our hopes up. Who can agree with me that that's not worth it? And yet, negative Nancy is screaming at you to live your life exactly that way. I did a little Google search earlier today, expectation versus reality. And the articles came rolling back at me. All the same message. You shouldn't set your expectations too high. You shouldn't dream too big. You shouldn't put that kind of pressure on yourself. Life will disappoint you and you'll be crushed. Wrong. The experience, good or bad, is just for a moment. The anticipation is the whole rest of your life. All the years, all the months leading up to the moment. If you want to live a life full of joy, you've got to live an excited anticipation. You need to expect more from life, not less. Say, I need to expect more. Even disappointment is only temporary, even if you get it wrong. And maybe you've been expecting something that turns out different than you planned. That feeling of disappointment is only temporary. Anticipation lives on in the hearts of the hopeful.